Yep. Yes, Knights Gaming. Yep. Mouse Control is, yeah, like I mentioned, one of the more established Dutch gaming teams. Knights is also quite established and well known, and they have a bit of a knack for picking up, the more younger, talented players, in the scene, and just making real players out of them, so to speak. But without further ado, we're gonna head into this game on Daybreak. In the top right, the purple Protoss team mouse control, it's Darkomicron. And in the bottom left, the red Zerg from Team Knights Gaming, it's RainMan. He's been, I think, one of the most consistent Grandmaster players I've had on my friends list. Meaning that he will play a lot in the weeks that Grandmaster is, open and accepting players, so to speak. So he will consistently get it. And yeah, last time I saw him play versus Protoss was against Grubby, and he almost, got the better of him. So really looking forward to this series. I don't know. You tell me. Is your mic on? Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you for checking on that. Okay. Thank you for telling me. All right. It should be fixed now.
Right.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. I forgot to unmute it after I put it on break, so that's my bad entirely. But yep. Hopefully, I didn't say anything that important, conveniently. But
well, it's just gonna make me look weird, like a monologuing guy, for the next 2 or 3 minutes of the cast. But
sorry about that, guys. Like I said, my production is not the sharpest thing in the world.
I need to apologize, really.
My commentary is a little bit better than my production ability, so hopefully, well, I prefer to be better at that anyway. So anyway, well, now that we've talked a bit, so we can see what's going on in this game. We're gonna see a forge. I mean, not forge. A pylon, low ground, nexus first, and then we should see. We'll see if it's forge or gateway, but I'm just gonna go ahead and expect the forge. No surprises would be there at all, and the hatchery on the way as well. So very standard opening for both these guys so far.
Yeah, of course, the gateway expand is a more aggressive way to expand, and usually starts with the gateway first on the high ground, with a slightly later nexus, and then transitions into a nice, 4-gate timing, basically off of 2 base. Interesting to note here for RainMan is he did get his natural hatchery blocked a while, but it really wasn't anything too dramatic. So he's still in very good shape, producing his second queen, and yeah, he might even be looking at an early third, considering the fact that he spotted his opponent going nexus first.
And yep, looks like the drone is already heading out that way, and that third base. The silhouette is there, and now the base is there. So yep, going to be that quick third base. So pretty Wings of Liberty-esque so far in this one. I mean, we've seen this time and time again with the quick third.
Ooh, these links might actually get into the main. Darko doesn't have the minerals he needs in order to wall them off. And actually, the probe. Oh, and the pylon. This is not a tight wall in by far, and RainMan is actually going to start chewing on this cannon. And I think this cannon is going to go down before it does too much damage. Second link, no, gets away. Pretty significant damage here already being caused by RainMan.
Yeah, these 4 lings, well, when you make 4 lings like this, you really don't expect them to kind of get this much done, but they have really done their duty. They will get surrounded. Oh, not quite. One does manage to squeeze his way out. Trying to get that one probe. Does not quite get it. But, I mean, yeah, the 4 lings have done their job so far, just slowing this down. And this is a lot of mining time lost by these probes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the worst part of the story here for Darko. Like, he had to pull a lot of probes off the mineral line, couldn't mine for a whole while. Whereas RainMan, well, he didn't really have to do anything special, just made 4 lings, and those were ridiculously cost effective. So, small win here for RainMan for sure.
Yep, and that'll certainly make him feel even a bit safer taking this third base, knowing that you set him back just a little bit, so any aggression that would have gone towards that third base is now just that little bit delayed in. Well, in games like this, of this importance, those seconds can mean quite a bit, so very good for him. And yeah, I mean, the supply lead's already, you don't normally see the supply lead this much in Zerg's favor this early in the game, but just that little head start is giving him that much.
Yeah, usually Protoss has no difficulty catching up with the drone count in the early game simply by using Chrono Boost, but that doesn't last forever. We now have Warp Gate on the way, and I expect to see a tech choice coming out of Darkomicron very soon. as soon as he has the minerals and the gas appropriate, of course. He's already built a pylon in his main, so we can build something like a Stargate, perhaps, a bit out of sight. And what's it going to be?
And yet at the same time, it will be the Stargate, like you just said, and yet making that in the main, so... Very typical opener these days, and I mean, it was all right in Wings, but now the Stargate has become a lot more popular. With Void Rays have gotten a lot stronger, Phoenix are still just as good as they ever were. And yeah, so nice, stable Stargate opening, and we'll see what he can get done with this. At the same time, 2 gases up now for RainMan at the natural. Going to add on a Roach Warren and an Evolution Chamber, so standard as standard can be at this point in time, getting that layer as well.
This is basically the standard Wings of Liberty Zerg, which we've seen a lot of them. Usually they will opt for double Evolution Chamber at their natural, just to make a bit of a wall off, but of course against Protoss that's not as effective as can be. He does have double gas at his natural, and he hasn't taken any yet at his main. So yeah, of course, some players will take the Roach Warren regardless of what's happening, just in order to be safe against Zealot pressure. But I don't see RainMan here going for Mutas quite yet. He has added on 2 gas at his third, but if you're going to go for Mutas, you need as much gas as you can get, and at the moment that's not what he's getting. He's getting ground upgrades, getting speed links. Yeah, I expect to see some heavy Roach play out of RainMan here.
Yep, and well, he's left it a bit open as far as what tech he wants to go for, because he has the Roach Warren and the Spawning Pool, obviously. Actually, making the Hydralisk Den, and well, against the Stargate, this is obviously a nice thing to have as well. But I mean, the Roach Hydra, it seems like it could be effective, but then it just doesn't seem to work a lot of the time. But it could very well be what our Zerg player is going for this time around. We'll just see how effective he can make that Roach Hydra ball.
Look at this Overseer though. It's going to get a pretty good scout off, and the question is it going to get taken out before it sees anything else? Is Darko going to try and add on any more tech? It does get to see the Stargate. Sees that there's only 1, not 2, but doesn't spot out any additional tech so far. And actually see a very interesting wall off from Darko here at the at the big ramp towards the center of the map with another 2 additional gateways. So yeah, he's going to take a third, and he's going to do it in a very defensive way, it seems.
You see some Lings running in towards the third base here. With these sentries, I feel like this really shouldn't pose that much of a threat. Yeah, first force field goes down, 1 Zealot, 3 sentries, more than enough to deal with this with proper micro. And yep, I mean, he's just more than content to just wall off that front and leave the scouting and map vision all to the Phoenixes and let them roll around the map and see what they can, while he just sits on his 3 bases and gets the tech, army composition he wants.
Darko is really relying heavily on his building placement here. He actually messed up his wall a bit at the start, which is what caused the photon cannon to be delayed and the Lings to actually do the damage they did. But he has denied RainMan from doing any additional scouting in his main. So for all RainMan knows Darko is now going for Colossus, and he's going to wish he is, because there's a whole lot of Hydras waiting for him, and he's going to spot those with the Phoenixes. And yeah, he immediately throws down the robotics bay.
Yeah, well, the facility. So the robotics base,
yeah.
So the bay is still a long ways off. So Colossus eventually going to be reached, but right now these Hydras, well, they're walking across the map, and the thing is, once they have their ranged force fields, really don't do a whole lot against them. And I mean, the Phoenix, that's a lot of the investment right now for Darkomicron, and well, they can lift Hydras and try to at least lower the DPS, but there are enough Hydras right now that those Phoenix will just melt.
This is a huge timing here by RainMan. It's a bit of an anti-timing, considering the fact that he doesn't have any upgrades for the Hydras except speed, which is what he needs. Wait, no, he doesn't have speed actually, but he is being very aggressive at the right time. Force field does manage to zone out quite a bit of these Hydras, and does Darko have a mothership core?
I don't actually remember him ever seeing. I don't remember seeing him make one. So oh, there it is. It's
there it is.
How about the battle right now? There's the time warp. And, well, these force fields have been about as good as they could have hoped, perfectly placed, and, well, it looks like this timing not quite going to work. The force fields have run out, though, and there are still some Hydras left. Lings flooding in as well, trying to deal with those Stalkers, but, well, with the warp and reinforcements, it looks like Darkomicron has enough, and, well, the supply, Micron had about a 40 supply lead, and now RainMan had a 40 supply lead, and now he finds himself at near even supply, so very, very well defended by Darkomicron there.
Yeah, this fight went so much better than I was expecting it to go, to be honest. I thought those Hydras were just going to tear most of the Stalkers and Zealots apart, but he didn't even have... The reason I was wondering where his mothership core was because I thought he was going to have to throw down a photon overcharge, but instead he microed his Phoenix very nicely and picked off. We got Lings scouting a bit at the front here, there's a wall off, and Darko is in a very comfortable position, taking out a lot of units of RainMan and establishing his third quite firmly.
Yeah, the force fields of Darkomicron, as we see some Lings try to run in, baiting out some force fields. That's always nice to do. But those force fields, I mean, 2 sets in a row perfectly cut those Hydras off from the Zerglings on the other side of the wall, and there was really nothing he could do. The Lings kind of just, they were going to get killed by the Stalkers that were back there in the sentries regardless of what really happened, and the Zealots at the front line tanked the Lings really, really well. So, I mean, it was just a near perfect engagement, like you said. Phoenix continuing to scout out, and, well, we see some Mutalisks, and this is actually a pretty significant pack, and they're moving in towards this main base, and there's not a whole lot up here to help.
Yeah, this is such a smart tech switch here by RainMan. Now taking a lot of probes. There's only one Stargate, and this is something that Darko just did not see coming at all. He had double Robo, he had a freaking robotics base still upgrading charge. His Stalker count is low, he was making Void Rays rather than Phoenix, and he's gonna have a very hard time.
Looking at the Phoenix here, he does kind of back off, but I mean, 19 workers killed, and that was in like the space of about, what, 10 seconds? It was really fast. Can't fight these Stalkers head up. I'll have to kind of back out here. But still very well done by RainMan. Yeah, like you said, that tech switch, and look at the supply now. I mean, he was...
Oh, the third is under a lot of pressure, actually.
Yes,
Link's going for a surround. Oh, no, actually just going to go and try to kill all of the probes.
And he's do a very good job of that. And nice little micro there to try and at least minimize the number of probe casualties, but they're still getting nommed on a bit by 1 Ling at a time. Well, and all these Lings actually just kind of being fed, but the Mutas once again come in the front. I mean, he needs this army to fight. All the Stalkers and Sentries are down here. There's nothing dealing with these Mutalisks right now.
Mothership Core being absolutely huge to take out because those were 2 photon overcharges that could have been used to drive off the Mutas, and now I think Darkomicron is actually in a very, in a large amount of trouble. He's down on workers, he's down on income, his production is not ideal for what he wants to fight these Mutas with, and RainMan is on 5 bases. So if just RainMan just manages to keep his opponent in his base, he's going to be so far ahead.
Yeah, and with the number of Mutalisks on the map right now, as RainMan takes a very, very cheeky top location base. But having to make Stalkers, you don't really want Stalkers against a primarily Zergling ground force, but he basically has to make only Stalkers right now to deal with these Mutalisks. There are just so many of them that he has no other option, and these Lings are going to wreak havoc at the third base once again.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to get denied this time because there's a significant force. Darko really needs the force field in though, or rather force field out. Nice force fields cutting half of the army, being basically fed to the Zealots, while the other part is useless. Zealots, Phoenix is actually falling to the Mutalisk, and that's not something that Darko wants to happen.
Yeah, Phoenix on paper, very, very good against the Mutalisk, but when you're forced to like micro in 2 locations at once, those Phoenix can be quite vulnerable. They go down quite quickly to the bounces of the Mutas if they're actually able to get shots off. So, and also, he can hit the Stalkers quite easily, and then the shots will bounce onto the Phoenix as well, adding some extra damage. So, but microing pretty well against these Mutas and doing the best he can, but he has to micro on 2 fronts where it's... RainMan doesn't have to quite try so hard at the bottom, but he is losing a lot of Lings to this. But, I mean, he has so much map. Look at it, his base count is so absurd, he can just afford to throw these Lings. It really doesn't matter.
The gas income for RainMan is starting to approach his mineral income, which is almost unheard of, He's got so much gas, he can just continuously remake Mutas whenever he pleases. He doesn't even have to be that cost effective. If you can just keep the Phoenix count a bit down, he will be so fine. And now, Darko spots the additional bases with gases going up for RainMan, and that's got to make him so pissed off, really.
Yeah, seeing this base is like, oh, come on, man! Like you don't need this base. Oh, Phoenix actually, the micro right there, not best I've ever seen. Does lose 2 Phoenix right there, and he can't really afford to lose any of these. He needs all of these right now to deal with this giant Mutalisk threat. And Ling's once again heading towards that third base, and well, this time the army is not in position to stop them immediately, so we might see some worker damage done here.
Actually, these Zealots are going to be...
the Zealots are a nice little delay there, and that'll actually give time. Let's see maybe run past those Zealots and just go for the workers there, but, I mean, yeah. No real harm done there. Just basically just keeping Darko down on these 3 bases and not able to expand anymore than this is really all he needs to do at this point in time, since he's on 1, 2... Well, let's count the bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases right now to 3.
RainMan has, like I mentioned, almost the same amount of income on gas as on minerals. That's just plain ridiculous. That's never, I've seen Zerg take additional bases, like at the top left, where he was only mining gas. But this is just plain ridiculous, really.
Right now he has 4 bases mining only gas, pretty much, and that is pretty ridiculous. But how many workers? What's his worker count at as well? Only 75 workers too, so it's not even that. He still has a pretty significantly sized army. Look at this air army. This is just unstoppable at this point in time. Gonna bring the Corruptors in, and this Void Ray will just melt to that pretty quickly. And the Void Ray taking actually a fair bit of damage and is still able to do what it can. My computer cannot quite handle just all these glaives. But
I'm having a hard time too as well in this fight.
All the Phoenix are dead now, and the Mutas, there's too much.
Yeah, too much stuff, really. RainMan plays true Zerg style and just completely overwhelms Darkomicron with the heavy mutalisk play.
Yeah. And
First time I've seen a Zerg